Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Boom Boom Room with Whispers of Cross America.
America. Whispers across America. It's a and this one's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, this has to be one of the most fun states in the union, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be. Well, I mean, it's where people go and spend all their money and come out
And what
crying.
happens? What happens there stays there.
Yeah,
And we are talking about none other than the Silver State. Where are we at?
Nevada.
Nevada.
Nevada. Depends on how you say it. Nevada. A lot of people say it Nevada. I say Nevada, but I mean it's potato. So
that's true. I mean, it used to be part. Originally, it was part of the Utah territory, and then they split it off after they found all the big Comstock load of silver.
Yep.
They were like, "Oh, we're splitting up. We're becoming our own state." And that man, and then but they got Las Vegas, Viva Las Vegas.
Yeah. Well, when I think of Nevada, I think of gangsters, Elvis, the Hoover Dam. I think of that, and there's some cryptics too. I think about. I won't mention them, until later. But it's a beautiful state. I've never been there. I've always wanted to. I don't want to go to Vegas. I used to want to go to Vegas, but I don't think personally. I heard that it's bad. You know what I mean?
It's mostly. Well, I mean, it just depends on how you like to have fun, but Nevada, man. It's a lot of desert. It's like it has the highly populated areas, and then there's a lot of unpopulated area.
Yeah,
we're desert. But this first spooky folklore story from the state of Nevada comes from a very famous location in the folklore of Nevada. It's called Area 51, and Area 51 is it's a military installation. Been out there for forever, where the military has done test flights of all their secret new flying machines, and so this spooky folklore about Area 51 is called the Black Mailman of Area 51. They say that before the fence went up, a dirt road used to lead straight to the hidden gates of what would become Area 51. Every few weeks, a government courier would drive that route alone, carrying sealed metal boxes stamped with military emblems. Then, one trip, the courier never came back. Search teams found his Jeep overturned, the metal boxes torn open, the desert sand soaked dark like oil. The driver's uniform was there, but the body was gone. Weeks later, travelers at night began seeing a figure walking that same road. His head down, hat pulled low, moving slow under the moonlight. His face is always hidden, but his eyes glow pale green. And he carries a dented mail satchel that rattles like bones inside. Those who stop to offer help say he lifts his head and the smell of burnt ozone fills the air as if lightning struck too close. Some hear him whisper, "Return to sender." If they linger, they vanish, and their vehicles are later found running. Doors open, engines cold. The locals around there say he's not the ghost, not exactly. It's more like something the military tried to build out of what they recovered from the sky. A human messenger merged with whatever was inside those boxes. Now he walks the desert, delivering messages to no one, trapped between life and whatever he was made to serve. When the wind carries a dry, scraping sound down Groom Lake Road, folks say it's his boots dragging through the sand, still searching for the package that cost him his soul.
Man.
The black mailman of Area 51.
Wow.
Man, yeah, that's a creepy one.
Man, that is
Woo.
a creepy one.
Yeah.
That place is creepy, Area 51. You know, just being around that area, I heard, you know, just being so far from it, you know, you get a bad vibe and a bad feeling. People's told me.
Well, I mean, yeah, everything from crashed aliens being held there to alien technologies that we don't understand being studied there to all sorts of secretive experiments and you got to know, I mean, it's kind of the history of scientific innovation that not all of the cutting edge research is going to be safe for humans.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that started back with Marie Curie with radioactivity, man, when she was that French scientist and invented X-rays.
Yeah.
And it killed her, you know?
Yeah.
She invented this technology, but it killed her.
Yeah. Think about how many lives she saved, Joe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man.
She saved a life.
But this dude was a courier and he was carrying metal boxes to Area 51. But his Jeep, he must have hit a pothole or a boulder in the desert, and his Jeep overturned. And then whatever was inside the metal boxes, it caused him to mutate or phase or become something different.
Yeah.
You know?
There's no telling. Hey, you know what I think about that? That reminds me. I used to travel a lot, and I was thinking, there's no telling how many times I've passed or big trucks or vans passed, and no telling what was inside of them. You know? What they were transporting. You know.
Now, I mean, they're supposed, if they have dangerous or hazardous materials, I mean, they are supposed to display certain specific placards. They're like diamond shape.
You know they're not gonna. Because one reason too is probably because to scare people, you know, and then, you know, it might be something really valuable that they don't want people to know about.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Of course, you know. Yeah, I mean, you'd be secret a bit. Be secret. Then, you know, you wouldn't want to advertise what it was.
Yeah.
Man, but you know what? You know, it's funny though you mentioned that because the other day I was driving and I passed this big tanker truck and of course, it had those hazardous materials placards on the back, but it said it was carrying liquid nitrogen.
Yeah.
And I always, man, I go, that would be the worst vehicular accident ever.
Oh man.
Is to run into a tanker of liquid nitrogen.
Yeah. Remind you of Terminator 2.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. Well, anyway, Ted, if you ain't got nothing else to add, I'll read my first story.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. It is called the Slaughterhouse Canyon, and this location is near Kingman on the Nevada-Arizona border. Locals call it Luann's Canyon, but most folks know it by a darker name, Slaughterhouse Canyon. It's a place you can still visit, though the locals will tell you not to go after sundown. They say the air changes there, and if you listen close enough, you can still hear the screams. The legend is, back in the mid-1800s when gold fever was tearing across the Southwest, a small family built a rough shack deep in the canyon. A prospector, his wife, and their 2 children. The husband would ride out for weeks at a time, searching for gold in the hills, leaving his wife Luann to care for the kids. But one summer, he never came back. The food ran out. The canyon, once alive with bird calls and wind, went deathly silent. Luann searched for roots, caught snakes, even boiled leather to keep her children alive, but the hunger twisted her mind. Every night her children cried from starvation. Weak little voices echoing off the canyon walls. Days later, when rescue never came, something inside her snapped. They say one night she dressed herself in her husband's old blood-stained mining clothes, took up his axe, and went into the children's bedroom. By morning, the canyon filled with the sounds of screams, cut short by the wet, heavy sound of steel splitting bone. And when the bloody aftermath was, when she came to, she realized what she's done. Her children's body lying still, the dirt floor painted with her blood. She walked outside, her hands trembling, her nightgown torn and soaked crimson. Then she wandered into the dry riverbed, dropped to her knees, and wailed under her voice until it broke. And when the sun rose, she vanished into the canyon. Some say she drowned herself in the rivers, others say she starved, still clutching the axe. Her husband's pack mule finally returned home, dragging his bones behind him. And today, people who came near the canyon swear they still hear her cries, a long, high wail that starts as grief and ends in rage. Sometimes hikers find small, bloody handprints near the creek bed. Others have reported hearing children's crying in the darkness, followed by a sharp scrape of metal against stone. If you walk into the canyon under a full moon, they say Luann appears, her gown dripping blood, her eyes hollow, the axe still clenched in her hands. And if you hear her call your name, well, it's already too late. Luann's.
Hey, that's about as scary as it gets right there.
Yeah.
I mean, woo-wee.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
She that's the definition of snapped. She snapped, man. He was out there.
Yep.
And yeah, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a tough, that was a tough road to hoe, being a prospector, being a settler, a pioneer.
Oh, yeah, man. 'Cause especially if you didn't know. I mean, if you didn't know, like, the knowledge that what's around you, basically, shoot, the dangers.
I mean, yeah, like what mushrooms you can eat and what mushrooms are gonna send you on a
trip.
peyote dream.
Yeah. And then think about it, dude. If you're out there by yourself prospecting, what you can fall, break your leg, get snake bit, and somebody can come up on you and rob you, kill you, steal, and there was just so many possibilities. But I guess you couldn't live in fear. I mean, you just had to be prepared.
The successful ones had to be cut from a different cloth, man. They had to be made of sterner stuff.
Yep.
So to speak.
Yeah, I definitely do, man. I've read a lot of westerns, and there was like them stories about the mountain men and how tough they were. You had to be tough, but it also had to be in you. It's like anything else. If it's not in you, it's not in you. Your blood and your manhood and your genes to be that strong.
Yep.
But her, she snapped. I mean, I guess, some people like these days now snap and do crazy things and, off their kids, something we would never fathom in our mind to do. But something snaps either physically, mentally, or demonically, one of those. But,
man,
that's bad.
Woo! That's a spooky one.
Yeah, it's
That's
definitely
a spooky one.
It definitely is, Ted. Definitely is. Well, I guess
you
read your last one if you're ready.
So, this one comes from the big bright city of mischief. This one is from Las Vegas, Nevada. And now this one is all about the ghosts of the Flamingo Hotel, which, the Flamingo Hotel is the oldest continuously operating hotel in the city.
Didn't know that.
Yep, it's a famous one. It's the one that's been around the longest. So everyone knows that Las Vegas was built on gambling, showgirls, and mob money. But do you know just how much blood it took to make the neon glow? And no place shows that more than the Flamingo Hotel, one of the first major casinos on the Strip, and the one that refuses to let its ghosts rest. The Flamingo was the dream of Benjamin Bugsy Siegel, one of the most notorious mobsters of the 1940s. Bugsy poured millions into the project, turning a patch of desert dust into a palace of lights and luxury. But he also poured in too much of the wrong kind of money. It was mob money. When the construction went over budget, his bosses got nervous, then angry, then deadly. On the 20th of June, 1947, Bugsy Siegel was sitting in his girlfriend Virginia Hill's Beverly Hills home when gunfire shattered the window. 2 bullets struck him in the head. They said his left eye landed halfway across the room. That night, the Flamingo Hotel's lights flickered as if the desert itself knew who had died. Not long after, the guests at the hotel started reporting strange things. There were doors opening and closing on their own. There were cold spots in empty hallways. And, most famously, there was the ghost of Bugsy Siegel himself. He's been seen countless times in the presidential suite, where he used to stay, and also in the rose garden where his original private bungalow once stood. Guests say that Bugsy appears sharply dressed in a white suit and fedora, and he stands by the window staring out at the strip like he's still keeping watch over his empire. The hotel security guards who patrol the gardens at night have reported the smell of expensive cologne in the air, even when no one's around. One guard quit after seeing a man matching Bugsy's description in the window reflection. But when he turned, the room was empty. The Flamingo has other ghosts, too. In the early years, there was a fire. It was small and they contained it, but it was deadly. A showgirl died, trapped behind a locked dressing room door. Some say you can still hear her screaming in the service tunnels beneath the casino. Workers call her the Lady of the Flames. They say that her perfume smells like lilac and smoke, and it fills the air just before a machine malfunctions or a light shorts out. Over the decades, the Flamingo Hotel has been rebuilt, expanded, remodeled, but the hauntings never stopped. The staff whisper that there's one elevator that sometimes stops on the wrong floor, doors opening to a dark, unfinished hallway straight out of the 1940s. If you walk inside, the lights go out. And when they come back on, that hallway is gone. The guests who stay in Bugsy Siegel's old suite sometimes wake to find their chips stacked neatly in the shape of a flamingo. Or they smell gunpowder hanging in the air. And a few have heard a low voice say, "This was my town." They say if you visit the Flamingo after midnight and walk past the garden pool where Bugsy's old bungalow once stood, you might see him, not in the shadows, but standing in the open, smiling that gangster grin. If you make eye contact, don't say his name, because those who do wake up with a mark on their arm, a burn shaped like a bullet hole. The ghosts of the Flamingo Hotel from Las Vegas.
Man, that's some spooky stuff there, old Bugsy Siegel. I believe it.
Is it?
Man, that's the violence and stuff that's happened in Vegas and the bodies. Well, you remember what happened when the water level went down?
Right. Yeah, Lake Mead.
Yeah.
yeah, Lake Mead.
Finding
they were in barrels and stuff.
Yep.
Woo! Man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some spooky stuff. For real. That was like really spooky.
Yep.
But Bugsy, yeah, man, that's a pretty famous name. Bugsy Siegel, one of the gangsters of the 1940s. And he's he built the original Flamingo. I never realized that they had I wonder what the original one looked like, because I guess they must have remodeled it quite extensively over the years. But
yep. Yeah,
but it was probably always very glitzy and glamorous and fancy and such. And,
well,
kind of with gambling and showgirls. It was sort of, originally, they probably built it out in the middle of the desert for a reason. It was kind of a place where people used to go who enjoyed certain types of entertainment.
Yep.
And
Well, it was a brilliant idea. Whoever I watched a documentary on the original people that started Vegas, but it's I can't remember. But it's a very interesting story. I mean, it was brilliant to make money. I think Trump he got his hand in it too. I think out there.
Okay.
He's Trump. Vegas stuff.
Yeah, I've been there a number of times.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
How is it?
I mean, it's been a while, but I mean, no, it honestly, it's been a while now. I can't say. I mean, it's kind of what you'd expect, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, if you have, if you're there for a nice vacation, I'm sure they have all the amenities that you would want. Now, a lot of people will travel there for the big shows, have fun.
Oh yeah,
with the big shows, right? Because there's been a lot of famous musicians and shows that went for years, like back in the day, that Liberace dude.
Yeah.
And Elvis was there for a long time, and Siegfried and Roy.
Yep.
And then more famous, like the magicians, like David Copperfield, and all these shows. So
yeah, a lot of them, a lot of these musicians, different ones. Cher, and lately, I think Motley Crue and stuff, different ones.
Okay, all right.
But I've seen a documentary on Vegas lately. Nick Johnson, I've told you about him before. He's commented on a couple of my videos. He's a big streamer. He's got like over 1 million subs. But he was saying that how much money it costs, it's like quadruple from the last couple of years, and it's lower numbers than it's ever been. People visiting because it's just too much money, man, to go out there, and
you do have to have some money, I mean, it's kind of all about spending money when you go there.
Yeah, you gotta have big money. That's exactly right.
But like they have, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do out there. Like, you can go to they used to have, I think they probably still do, where you can go to a racetrack out there and drive exotic cars like Lamborghinis and Ferraris.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Drive them around, and they have all sorts of kind of fun stuff you could do.
Yeah. Well, getting back on the spooky part of it,
Yep.
That place, there's so much violence and stuff. Yeah, there's no telling what's out there, man. And the negative energy and the murders and stuff like that. It's there's no telling how many ghosts are out there for real.
Yeah,
no telling. But anyway, Ted, if you ain't got nothing to add, I'll read my last story. It's a little long, but this is probably, it's been done before, but it's very famous cryptic from there. I've had had some buddies cover it. I've really intrigued about it. So read this one. It is called, if I can pronounce it right, the Mogollon Monster, the bloody beast of the rim. And deep in the pine forest and red canyons of Arizona and eastern Nevada lies the Mogollon Rim, a jagged cliff line stretching for miles, steep drops, tangled brush, and ancient caves where the sunlight seems to be afraid to linger. And for more than 100 years, people have told stories about something that lives there, something tall, something foul-smelling, something that screams like a man being murdered. And it says the legend begins of the earliest stories came from the Apache, who spoke of a man who broke tribal law. A murdered cast out into the wind. The gods cursed him, twisting his body into a monstrous thing covered in hair, his face half human, half beast, condemned to wander the rim forever. He became what people call now the Mogollon Monster. They say he feeds on blood, tearing open deer and sometimes people, leaving nothing but bones and shredded flesh behind. And well, in the 1940s, a group of Boy Scouts camping near Payson woke in the night here to hear screams echoing through the trees. A long, furious wails that turned into deep guttering growls. When they looked outside their tent, something huge was silhouetted against the campfire glow. About 8 feet tall, with long matted hair and eyes that burned bright. It sniffed the air and grabbed one of the coolers and crushed it flat right before their eyes before vanishing into the forest. The next morning, they found bloody footprints leading into the canyon. Most recent sightings tell the same stories. Hunters stumbling on mutilated elk carcasses, bones stripped clean. Hikers smelling rot and dead flesh just before hearing heavy footfalls pacing them through the trees. And campers waking to find claw marks gouged deep into the truck doors. People who have heard it say the Mogollon Monster doesn't sound like an animal at all. It starts at a low moan, then rises into a full human-like scream. The kind that makes the hair on your neck stand up and your heart pound in your chest. And just when you think it's fading, it answers itself from somewhere closer. Forest rangers have been known to pack up early rather than to camp overnight on the rim. Once say, you don't see it first, you smell it, like rotting meat and wet dog. Then you hear the scream, and if you're smart, you don't wait to find out what's making it. One of the most gruesome tales date back to 1903, when a trapper named Clyde Lockwood set up camp near the Mogollon Rim. He had been finding his trap smashed and his bait stolen, so he waited one night with his rifle ready. And just before dawn, something massive crashed through the trees. Clyde fired twice. Both shots hit, but instead of falling, the thing charged him. They found Clyde's camp days later, his tent shredded, blood everywhere, and the trail of crimson leading into the woods. His body was never found. The only thing left was his rifle, bent in half. Witnesses describe the monster as 7 to 10 feet tall, covered in long, dark brown or reddish hair. The eyes that glow amber or red. A face that disturbingly looks human. Long yellow fangs and hands like claws. It walks upright, but can drop to all fours when it runs and moves fast. They say the air turns cold just before it appears, and the silence that follows, no insects, no birds, means it's already watching you. Locals warn travelers to whistle in the rim country at night. The Mogollon Monster takes that as a challenge. So if you hear a scream answer you from the dark, run. Because once it marks your scent, it will follow you for miles. And if you find footprints that suddenly stop in the middle of the dirt trail, don't look up. Man, that thing's scary.
Mogollon.
Yeah, that rim is very famous. The Mogollon Rim. Yeah, a lot of activity goes on. It does run, I think through Arizona and Nevada. But yeah, the Mogollon Monster, man, I've read a few stories on it and seen actually encounters,
Yeah, but it goes back to Native American folklore.
Yes, it even goes back to then. Well, I mean, any cryptic Bigfoot, the Native American does have, they kind of think it's one thing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of folklore about the cryptics, especially, Bigfoot. And, but most people just think it's a Bigfoot. But I think that Daniel, the Cryptic Podcast, I think he's had a guest or two on there that's had encounters of it. I'm pretty sure. I know a couple of the Cryptic guys that I know's had, people that had encounters.
But there's the idea that this Mogollon monster was once a human.
Yep.
And so, I mean, but no one knows quite what caused the transformation into the monster.
No.
I'm sure there's a lot of speculation. I mean, to tie it to Native American lore, it sure sounds a lot like a skinwalker type of situation.
Yep.
Which the skinwalkers were like kind of witches. And but he transitioned it and stayed that way.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting that the air turns cold. It's that's definitely an indicator of some kind of supernatural energies that are being, it's like this. We've come across that idea before with ghosts and such, and certain specific creatures where they must draw energy from the environment to materialize or gain some sort of power, some sort of energy, right?
Yeah.
But powerful it's a powerful monster. I mean, be able to gouge and scratch vehicles even. I mean, whoo.
Well, I think like this one here, it's like Bigfoot, but it's not. You know what I mean? That's the difference in this monster,
Yeah, because Bigfoot isn't always, Bigfoot isn't necessarily malicious, right? I mean,
yeah, most of them are not. Yeah, most of them are.
Yeah. This one sounds like you do not want to. But what's with the whistling? So
it says that you're basically challenging it. I don't even know. It says, it says locals warned. It's warned the travelers not to whistle.
Not to whistle.
Yeah, not to whistle.
Okay.
Yeah, not to
that
whistle.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
takes it as a challenge. And I always heard that with Bigfoot too, you know what I mean? They whistle and communicate, like tree knocking. You go out there and they'll do the tree knocking. And some people think that Bigfoot does that, or Sasquatch, to warn that humans are in the area. You know what I mean? They use that because a lot of times the people I know that's had encounters, which encounter I had, I didn't get no rocks through at me, it was just, and I didn't have a visual. I heard it and seen it coming through the woods, but they get rocks thrown at them, you know what I mean? But they don't hit them. Most of the time when they throw rocks, they don't throw rocks to hit you. It's kind of, make you leave, and stuff.
Yep.
But this monster here seems like he's very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. And another thing, like the airborne code, I've never really heard that with Bigfoot, but everything goes silent, no insects always when people have cryptic encounters, 9 times out of 10. Whatever happens
which
with
would
the
be
atmosphere, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it would be another way of sucking any energy out of the air, even vibrational energy, because sound is made of vibrations,
Yeah.
If they can absorb the sound waves, then it's gonna be silent.
Hey, that just blows my mind though. A lot of times when people have encounters, everything goes silent. And that shows you the power they must have, their energy, whatever that just blows my mind. And stuff like that. There's a lot of theories, on that part about, Bigfoot, and I love hearing them all. We all have our own opinions on it. There's people that, that don't believe in them, and I respect that, and some, but I would never, even when I didn't really believe in Bigfoot, before I had my encounter, I thought he existed, but I thought it was just some monkey or something that ain't been discovered. But I never made fun of people, I just, but it's sad though that how people get done that believe in that. People think they're crazy and stuff, and that upsets me. That really does. But what can you do?
I mean, the majority of people aren't out. Okay, so really Bigfoot encounters are fairly rare. If you think about the human population is like millions of people, and there hasn't been that many Bigfoot encounters, and the thing is that it kind of makes sense because generally, I mean, I know there's expeditions that have gone out looking for Bigfoot and all, but it's not a regular type of endeavor. People, aren't always going out, and it makes sense that that we're not totally focused on finding Bigfoot every hour of every day.
Exactly.
We're human, our culture, man. We're just doing what we do, and that fact alone, leads to the idea that there could be something out there that exists that we just haven't paid attention to, and we come across just every once in a while. Out of pure chance.
Well, most people I know that has had encounters, they didn't, look. 9 out of 10 of them, Bigfoot basically showed herself to them. They wasn't looking for it, and then you got the boots on the ground folks, friends of mine that had encounters. But like you said, most people don't go looking for it. There's a small population that boots on the ground, which I respect. Like I had a friend I told you the other day, he, was at the LBL, Land Between the Lakes. I won't mention his name, and they've had encounters and stuff like that, but he was looking for it, but he was in an area that was highly, a lot of activity goes on at the LBL, so you expect some kind of activity. But I mean, most people, majority that do have encounters don't go looking for it. And I believe, my opinion is, Bigfoot, if you don't look for him, he'll show himself to you. That's whatever kind of being or creature it is. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole on this episode, but, there's a lot of theories, about portals and interdimensional. And so there's got to be a reason that you don't see him every time you go in the woods. So,
Yep.
If you believe in him,
Yeah, man. Nevada's got some good ones, man. It's a colorful, mostly desert, but it got some super colorful places, and definitely some colorful tales, spooky folklore tales.
Yeah, it really
from that state.
It really does. Ted. Well, next week we'll be doing New Hampshire. That's one of those states I don't never really think about, But I'm sure that's probably a wooded area, New Hampshire, is it?
Yeah, I think so, man. That's probably going to be the lesser known spooky folk stories.
Yep. And that'll be 29. State 29. Yep.
All right.
We're getting there.
Our spooky road trip across America.
Oh yeah.
And Nevada's been a good one.
Sure has. Well, anyway, Ted, I appreciate you doing it again this week, my friend. I really enjoyed it. Maybe one day we'll get rich and head out to Vegas and gamble and see the monster.
Do some on the boots reporting.
Yeah, I'll be reporting. All right. Get out there. No bunny ranch for you, Ted. No bunny ranch for you. But anyway, I appreciate.
What's that? What's that?
I appreciate it, Ted. But anyway, guys, until next week, I appreciate it. You know the drill. Watch out for the showgirls and Bugsy Siegel dressed as the Mogollon Monster. So, but till next week, guys, peace out.